Okay, welcome to another episode of Seeds of Music. I'm your host, Kyle Williams, and this is the #1 web show where aspiring independent artists and do-it-yourself musicians can learn right now how to gain wider exposure, grow a strong base of raving fans, and make a living doing what they love. Now, I have a quick, exciting announcement to make. You know, guys, Seeds of Music started in September of 2011. As just a humble blog, and has since grown into what it is today, being the #1 web show for musicians and independent artists. Now, the first show launched on March 21st of 2013, and today I'm excited to announce that I am launching its first flagship product, Atlas Music Marketing. But just to give you a quick rundown of what Atlas is, it's a program that's a step-by-step process of the modern online marketing methods that will get you more exposure, fans, and money. Now, a lot of the information in Atlas is already being used by the world's top online entrepreneurs and do-it-yourself musicians, so I know this stuff works. So if you are a do-it-yourself musician, you consider yourself to be that kind of person or an independent artist that wants to take responsibility of your career, do yourself a favor and head over to www.atlasmusicmarketing.com and just check out the program. It's 100% risk-free. You can try it for 60 days, and if you don't like it, you get a full refund. That's it. Okay, now on to our today's episode. We've got Trevor Sewell on the show today, and he's an awesome, excellent British blues musician. I personally really love the guy's voice. If you hear it, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's got that really gritty flavor to it, but we're going to talk about how Trevor successfully sold an album with no promotion at all. Really interesting. But just to give you a little background on Trevor, he's the official winner of the Hollywood Music and Media Award for 2011 and 2013. He was awarded the prestigious British Blues Award and has a #1 album on the American Blues Scene chart. So let's jump right in. Okay, welcome guys to another episode of Seeds of Music. We have Trevor Sewell on the show. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks, Kyle. Thanks for having us, mate.
So, you know, you're pretty far away right now. Can you tell us exactly where you're
I'm
from?
I'm in the northeast of England in a place called Sunderland, which the nearest bigger city to it is Newcastle, about 60 miles short of the Scottish border.
Is that where we get our Newcastle beer from?
That's exactly where you get it from. Yeah,
I was saying that at the risk of being an idiot and having no, we don't get Newcastle.
Newcastle Brown Ale. It's like this is the home of Newcastle Brown Ale.
Yeah, I just had it last night too, so I have got it on my mind. I actually, every time I go out, I either get I have like a few default beers. Like if there is Yingling, which is an American lager, I'll get that, but you usually don't find it out here on the West Coast as much. But there's one bar I found that actually serves it, and then my other go-to is Rolling Rock. But if I have a little bit more cash to spend, I'll get a Newcastle.
Yeah, it's good. It's good stuff, and you can generally find. I was in Vancouver a little while back actually, and some people said, "All right, come out, we'll go out tonight," and it took us to a pub. Which was great. And as soon as I walked in, there was a huge sign with Scottish and Newcastle breweries,
Nice.
like, and a wall full of Newcastle Brown Ale. I thought, blimey, I really didn't expect that, but I've had it in Dubai as well. It's like it's pretty much everywhere,
Does it taste the same no matter where you drink it?
Well, it's odd, It's like when I was a kid, there was the reputation that Newcastle Brown Ale had was like Devil's Brew and things like that. It was like it had all sorts of different nicknames. Now, I drank Newcastle Brown Ale in Newcastle, and it's strong stuff,
Mm-hmm.
But I remember being in Dubai once, and I don't know whether it was brewed for an external market, but we got a case of it, and there was 3 of us. And we were absolutely on a completely different planet. And I've often wondered, was that the stuff that like sort of my granddad and stuff came up on, Devil's Brew and things?
Oh, yeah, the original.
Yeah, is that the real stuff? And maybe it's stronger there than what we have actually in Newcastle, Yeah. But that's all supposition on my part.
Yeah, I think everything we consumed was probably stronger back then because we had to, we were amputating legs and then just our only anesthetic was drinking like whiskey or whatever. Yeah,
That's
we're
right. Yeah.
pretty hardcore. We're a little bit softer nowadays, but so Trevor, man, I want to ask you, man, what got you into music?
Okay, well, when I very first started in music, it was because my brother brought a guitar into the house, and he also brought with it a John Mayall and Eric Clapton album,
Okay.
which was the one where he's reading the Beano, Eric Clapton's reading the Beano on the front, the John Mayall and the Blues Breakers album. And I'd never heard anything like that before, you know. And obviously I couldn't play guitar, but like my brother used to put it down, I used to pick it up and have a little try. And eventually, I just used to be trying to play it all of the time. So my mum and dad went and got me a guitar as well, and that was pretty much it. You know, as soon as I had one, that's all I wanted to do, really.
And like when was that? I don't want you to like to date yourself, but I do kind of want to give the audience an idea like what time period we're talking about.
Yeah, we're talking about this is going back a long, long time. We're talking about the very back end of the 1960s. So that's I remember a lot of things. I remember Jimi Hendrix appearing on Top of the Pops one night when nobody had heard of him,
Oh wow.
and we went out in the pub that night, and all anybody was talking about, nobody's talking about anything else other than, did you see that guy on Top of the Pops tonight? And he was what? He was playing ice, and it was just like it was amazing. The entire city and probably most of Britain were only talking about Jimi Hendrix because we'd never seen anything like that before. Because probably Herman and the Hermits or something had been on before him, you know. And then, and then it was just like what? It was absolutely astounding, you know.
Yeah, because he
So
was gaining a lot of traction in the UK first before he even.
yeah, I'd never heard of him before. Never heard his name. As happens, when he came on, I mean, for a long time after that, there was two really big bands. Yeah, I mean, I was about I was probably about 12 then or something, you know. But it's like there was two really big bands then, which was the Cream
Yeah.
and Jimi Hendrix, and they were always set up against each other, you know, like sort of which is the best one, you know, and you know if you like this one, can you still like the other one? It was like, yeah, you could, you know,
Uh,
but it was. I always regret not seeing Jimi Hendrix because I was going to go and see him one night, and what I actually said to me mate, I said, I'll see him next time he comes up, and of course he never came back, you know,
yeah.
so
So yeah,
my
regrets.
apologies.
Oh man.
Yeah, can't win them all though. But that was a real life event though. Even just seeing them on the TV, you know, brilliant.
So so where did things go for you after the late '60s? How did your
Um,
career progress?
right. Well, what I did do is I went professional around about 1971 or something like that, and I did a lot of touring. A lot of the stuff we're doing now, because it was very different in those days, was like sort of cover versions and things, you know. But I did like sort of like Europe and the Middle East. I played with a variety of a lot of different lineups where you would go and you would play at a place and you'd play like for 5 hours a night and you'd do almost every different types of music. And I always remember being in Beirut once. And there was a poster on the wall there. Oh God, what were they called? I'll think of the name in a minute. It was another band that were doing exactly the same circuit, and Ian Gillan out of Deep Purple was the singer out of them, you know.
Uh,
So it was before he joined Deep Purple. It was like I wish I could think of the name of it. So it was a great place to like learn how to do things because you just had to do everything, and like you were literally playing like 30 something hours a week of actual playing the guitar, you know.
is
Um,
that
so
does that like stuff? I mean, does that stuff exist now? I mean, those
I've got
opportunities?
I've got no idea. I would imagine it probably does abroad, but I really don't know, you know. But I spent a few years doing that, and then I moved to London and joined a rock band there, and then I started playing with different people, like sort of filling in for things, and then I was signed in the 80s. I joined a band called the Revillos. We were signed to EMI, and I started being more with. I was more putting out records in the 1980s, so I'd sort of throughout the 70s, I sort of like learned my trade a bit. And the 80s, you started getting accepted into sort of making records type community.
So
More,
so you got signed onto a label in the 80s?
yeah, yeah.
And
Actually,
was that like the first time that you put out an album?
well, I'd been signed for like sort of singles and things to other labels beforehand with different artists. Where sometimes I was like writing stuff for them, and sometimes I was playing on stuff, and sometimes I wasn't. So sometimes I was signed for the publishing thing. But the the first major deal I had was I'm saying I had, it was the band I was in had, it wasn't me, was with EMI in the 80s, and that was great because it got us into a lot of other different things, and it was nice having some money behind you for a change.
So Trevor, when did your album Calling Your Name come out?
Right, it came out sometime around about the end of 2010 or beginning of 2011. I'm not sure exactly what
Oh,
month it
so
was.
very recently, huh?
Yeah, so
What was your approach to like this album? I mean, so you did all the production like from home, or
yeah.
how did you work that?
Yeah, everything's just done in the room that I'm actually sitting in at the moment. So the whole thing was recorded, mixed, everything just within a space. Me sort of reason for doing it was over the years I've played on like lots of people's things, and I also do adverts and like sort of take music for TV and things here as well. So I just
Okay.
wanted to do something that for the sake of it, just something that I enjoyed. So that's all it was.
And what was like your approach to the marketing and promotion of this album?
Well, when I was recording the album, I didn't have anything at all in mind because I didn't even know whether I was going to release it because it was more just like, yeah, I just want to do this and I'll do it for me, just for myself. So when I actually got the album, I thought, right, I'll put it on iTunes, like how we do, through CD Baby, it went through there.
Okay.
So I put it on CD Baby, and that was fine. And I thought, I wonder if I should do anything with it. And one of my friends who was in another band said, "Oh, I know a DJ on a blues program. He's called Gary Granger. I'll give him a copy if you want." So I thought, yeah, that sounds good. So he gave him a copy.
Okay.
Gary got his in on a session, and it sort of
Okay.
built from there.
Okay. And this album did relatively well considering that you're an independent artist. You're not on a label right now, right?
I'm not on a label, no.
Yeah.
But
So yeah. So you're an independent artist running with a label, and this album actually sold pretty decently, I believe
it
you're
did,
telling me.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that.
And I'm sorry, carry on.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to like dodge this Skype, make the Skype thing,
Yeah, no
delay.
problems. Yeah.
But yes, you continue. You are the guest.
I can't remember what I was saying now.
Oh man, yeah, I don't
you,
remember either.
I think we can cut this bit out.
No, I'm leaving this in. This is real, baby. This is
Excellent,
how
it
we keep it
certainly
real on
is.
the Seeds of Music web show. We don't cut out
I like
when
it.
I act like an idiot. I totally leave it in there.
Excellent. I like it. I like it. Good
um,
approach.
so okay, I caught it now. Caught my thought. What's interesting though is because it's like you're like a niche artist, because
Yeah.
blues is very much a niche. I mean, there was a time where we had pop blues artists like Stevie Ray Vaughan that were on rotation on MTV, but
Yeah.
I mean, I also know this as well because I've been to the blues jams in the Valley. I've played with jammed out with all these old cats, and it's a great time. But there's like a very specific fan base because every time that I would talk with these guys who were really big fans of the blues, I mean, they were really big fans. Like they kind of eat, sleep, and breathe blues. And then there was occasionally some people who also would like to play funk tunes. So I'd call out a Sly and the Family Stone because that's what I actually
Yeah.
like to play.
I,
Like to
I,
play.
I love Sly and the Family Stone.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. It's like, it's funny because can you still hear us there, Kyle?
Yeah, yeah, I hear you good.
Oh, okay, right. Just start right. When you sing things like Sly and the Family Stone, when I started sort of playing blues, like I mentioned earlier with the John Mayall, Eric Clapton thing,
Hmm.
I drifted away from blues for many years. I've only just gone back to it,
Yeah.
and I don't think I'm not particularly knowledgeable about blues, but I went to a phase where we're doing things like Tower of Power and all that sort of like real sort of funk stuff, and
Yeah.
I absolutely love playing it.
Yeah.
When I first heard Freddie King's Burglar album, I don't know if you've heard that one, but
No.
it was the last one he did, and it's not like his other albums. It's really funky, the whole thing, and I really like that. So I think the blues has really extended the genre now. It's not like what it used to be,
Hmm.
where it was very much da 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 da, that
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's it's pretty much certainly over here. Pretty much anything's acceptable within blues. Really, it's just got to have some kind of feel to it, and people play guitars, but which I think is a much healthier thing, So I'm not really a traditionalist as such either.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of artists that are integrating blues into their sound, or coming from a blues influence, like the Black Keys. I mean, I listened to old Black
Oh,
Keys albums from like 2001, like Rubber Factory. It sounds very different than what they make now. But what I was getting back to what I was saying, like originally though, is that you're like a niche artist. Like you're I mean you're very good at what you do. Okay, so you're very
thank
skilled.
you.
So you've put in the time and effort to actually be good at your instrument and have all your shit together, pretty much like professionally. And so when it came time it seems like to make this album, even when you come from a place where you don't have like a marketing background or a background on how to like hustle promotion, your natural networks from those years of playing and being very involved in this niche community of blues artists, your network naturally came to the rescue. So you had a guy who said, "Hey, man, I know a DJ who can put your song, which is within this niche, on a rotation of ears. Basically, I can get your music exposed to the right people." And that's kind of like what message I've been trying to share on this
Yeah,
show on Seeds and Music is it's not just about just spamming or shotgunning your music out there. I mean,
no,
getting the right people to hear it. Those are the demographic that would really become fans of your music. Being able to get them to hear that, and I think that's very encouraging. I mean, so what have you, as far as like building your personal network, like how did you meet this guy
well,
that gave the CD to the DJ?
yeah, actually, it started working on a very much smaller basis than that, actually, because Gary, the guy I gave it to, was just a friend. He was actually in quite a successful punk band in the '70s called Penetration. And I just happened to
That
play the
sounds
music at my
fun.
house. Yeah, they were a great band. I mean, they had chart success and things
Yeah,
over here, and so.
yeah.
But he just happened to be at my house, and he said, "Oh, what have you been doing?" I put it on. He went, "Oh, right, I know somebody who might like that."
Hmm.
Now, it wasn't even a case of it going into rotation. It was a case of he just gave it to somebody else who was his friend, and he went, "Oh yeah, I like this," and he got in touch and he said, "Do you want to come in and do a session?"
Hmm.
So I went in and I did 7 or 8 songs, I think, live on his program, and he played some tracks off the album, and it sort of went from there. Other people started playing it,
Hmm.
so it was very sort of small steps all the way until it sort of started snowballing and
Hmm.
going much faster. And then it was like I said, there was nobody more surprised than me.
Well, looking
Um,
back on it, like what are some steps that you think you took that other independent artists could repeat to experience that same kind of success?
okay, right. I think that the most important thing, first and foremost, uh, and it might sound a little bit like a cliche, but it certainly worked for me. Is just to do something for the sake of the music and don't try and second guess or think, oh, this market requires this or anything like that. Just go and do what you want to do, and if it doesn't fit with the market that you're looking at, it doesn't matter because if you like it, chances are somebody else somewhere will like it as well. So it's a case of more trying to have an audience find you as
Okay.
much as you trying to find an audience, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and I think then it's just, I mean, social networks, the Facebook has been so fantastic for me. It's been brilliant because there's a lot of stuff I would never have got out without Facebook. It's really, that's just a case of like engage. I mean, I like talking to people anyway,
Hmm.
so it's like I have quite a nice time on my social network thing. But it's a way of being able to, if something good happens for you, it's a way of being able to post it on a wall without you seeming like the biggest big head in the world, like going, look what I've just done, you know.
Yeah.
And that I was, because I always had a problem doing stuff like that before. Now I don't know. Something happens, I just put it up on the wall, and it's great. People comment on it and things, and maybe ask questions and things. And I don't feel bad about doing that, you know. And that's sort of. I'm still haven't quite lost at Twitter.
Oh
I
yeah, yeah,
have
yeah.
to say,
Yeah. Well,
I
it's
do,
a
I do a little bit of it, but I'm a
well.
talking Twitter person.
Well, it's a powerful tool, man. A lot of musicians should. Every musician should have a Twitter account. It's kind of like if there isn't someone else doing your marketing for you or helping you get exposure online, then you got to do it yourself. And really, it's very very simple. It's very very simple to approach to learning how to use social media. It's just like having the right guidance is where it's all about. We actually did another interview with a guy named David Dombrowski, and we talked about 5 different things that musicians can do on social media to use it more effectively. But I mean, yeah. So I think you're in a great position because you already have a strong fan. You already found your niche, okay, and you're doing that well. And since you've shown that you can sell an album, okay, and in a day and age where people can pirate albums and distribute digital music easily, but you're actually
Yeah,
selling it, which means you have a fan base of people who want to support you as an
yeah.
artist, and
Well,
that's a really unique thing.
yeah. What's been really cool as well is I've actually had labels. I've had some interest from labels in America,
Hmm.
um, which is like bizarre because it's so far away. And I mean, I've been out. I was in America twice last year, sort of playing out there and things, and for those award things. But the just because of the internet, really, I have been contacted by labels. It's nothing I want to do anymore because what I've also learned is from being with a major label in the 80s, this is actually great when you when you're not with them and you think, I want to put this track on this album, so I don't have to ask anybody
Yeah,
else.
yeah. You
Well,
don't. Yeah, you have more
I just
control.
include it, you know. Yeah, it's like, so, and it's, so whereas I never close doors on things. Um, Say 5 years ago, if the label had approached us with pretty much anything, I would have went, yes, yes, great.
Yeah,
But it's you should value your independence, which is actually the name of the album for me,
yeah,
which
yeah,
is that's
yeah,
pretty much what it's about.
yeah,
You should really value that
yeah,
state of independence
yeah.
that you get, you know.
And in order to really actualize on that independence, you have to learn a whole new set of skills. To remain
Definitely,
independent, like you have to become. You don't have to become the biggest expert, but you have to be savvy about marketing and how it's being done online. You have to be
yeah.
savvy about a few key social media platforms, and always be on the lookout for new platforms that come out that you can experiment with.
Yeah.
Um,
What you can't do is you can't think how we used to think in the old days of labels. You can't think, oh yeah, I'll just get somebody to do all this stuff for us because it's probably not going to happen, you know.
yeah,
Um, and I mean, it might happen for you. If it does, good luck to you. I wish it happened for me, but you can't not engage with the process and just bury your head and think, oh, it's not there. But once you get into it, it can be really quite pleasurable. You know, I really enjoy it. You know, it's,
what do you say to like an artist who feels like learning the process? And I'm talking about the whole shebang. I'm talking about the marketing and the promotion and the interacting with the fans and the building
yeah.
relationships with the fans through social media. What do you have to say to an artist who kind of feels that's beneath them creatively?
Okay, right. All I think is, once again, it's the same ethos where I did the album, where I just did it like for the sake of it. I'm quite a social person anyway, so I don't actively go out and do very much. I'll put stuff on my Facebook, and if people comment on it, I enjoy commenting back with them. So I don't see that as being a big deal, you know. And I certainly don't see it as being a task that you're either above or below or on par with. It's just like, you know, if you bumped into people in the street, you would talk to them, you know, and that's it's just exactly the same. It's just like being completely normal with everybody, you know. So it doesn't have to be a big pressure thing. And what you can do, which I found has been very useful, it was actually with the Twitter thing, is I've got my Facebook, so I post on Facebook, it posts on Twitter for us. So I'm tweeting without me ever realising it. And also, I've noticed that like I get a lot more retweets now than what I used to before. But it means that I can just, like, somebody come on and say something, and I go, oh, yeah. Sometimes you're not always talking about yourself, you know. It can be like, have you seen that? And you go, oh, great, you know. And you know, I post things by different bands on my page as well. So it's just like, it's no different than interacting with the world, you know. So you can make it like that if you want, which is, yeah, I don't find it's a problem at all, you know.
Yeah, it just is what it is. You know, it's something that it's a part of the whole process, and you're enjoying the whole process. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Trevor, man, this has been like an awesome interview. Definitely learning from your vast experience. It's always great to have artists on the show who have, you know, have like years of experience under their belt and have actually seen the evolution of the music industry from the actual, you know, the big labels, and now in the digital age, you have the power to be independent, to be true.
Absolutely, yeah. And I'm going to be in America in a few weeks' time as well.
You're going to be at the on City Walk.
The City Walk, yeah. So it's like, it sort of shows that it's like you can start something off in your house, and it can cross the Atlantic, and it can go places, you know. And you know, it's the main thing is just to enjoy the whole thing and just keep on maybe doing it for the right reasons, rather than, you know, playing the sort of like one of the one game, because you'll never win that one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you truly want to achieve independence and be an individual, then you have to speak to your uniqueness.
Yeah, and you know, if you get somewhere with it, that's great. And if you don't, well, you know, if you're doing it because you enjoy it, well, that's really good as well, you know. So it's like, it's sort of like win-win, and it takes all the pressure. You don't have to worry about anything, you know. Which I like that, because I'm
fantastic. I mean, you're to me, like you're like proof that you don't need a major label to have success. You don't even need a major label to make income from your music.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just an example there. And so I'm really excited to, you know, see what you do in the future, and
cool.
Have to sign off now. But Trevor, thanks again.
And thank you very much, Kyle. It's been a pleasure, man.
Okay.
See you
later. And that wraps up this milestone episode of Seeds of Music. Make sure to check out Trevor's links below and give your support. And also, if you are interested in taking your music career to the next level, make sure to check out Atlas Music Marketing. Again, the URL is www.atlasmusicmarketing.com. Remember, you got 60 days to try it out, risk-free. If you don't like it, just send me an email and we're all good. So also, if you haven't yet, sign up for the email newsletter. It's the best way to stay up to date with all of Seeds of Music's happenings and interviews. And if you like this interview and you think someone might benefit from hearing it as well, just hit that like button, hit that share button, and share it with everyone you know. And last, comment on the video. What was your greatest takeaway from the interview, and how will you apply what you've learned? And if you know someone that you'd like to see interviewed, don't be shy. Send me an email to kyle.seedsofmusic@gmail.com. I'll get right back to you. And remember, we are the future of music.